A good Tavach, everyone, and a wonderful Gemar Chasima Tova to everybody. It should be a sweet and delicious year for everyone. We are sponsored tonight by Marshall Castle, Lili Nishmas Mordechai Ben Aaron. His neshama should have an aliyah, should be Meltz Yosher for his family, for all of us, and all of Klal Yisrael. We are sponsored by Shalom Fogel, Nishmas Yaakov Zev Ben Yehuda Aryeh, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas Gad, Yosef Ben Sion Ben Yaakov Zev, by Baruch Ian Lili Nishmas Yaakov Chaim Ben Abba, Esther Bas Gittel, Abraham Ben Shmuel HaKayin, by Yaakov Yemansky, with our curse Tov to the Rav, the Zoom family, Nachas from children and grandchildren, A.B. Sry, Nachas from children and grandchildren, Ed Salah from London, and Joshua Rosenberg, a virtual Talmud. We are holding, as we learn, the very best thing, besides Tshuva, Tefillah, and Tzedakah, is to learn Hashem's Torah now. Wow. Torah is Megan a Matzleh. It should be a defense and save us. It should be an easy year for all of us. Easy Geshmaka year. We are holding at the new Mishnah on the bottom of Kuf Amid Beis, triple digits. So in the olden days, they buried people in Kuchen. Oh yes, thank you. As we welcome in Saba, we welcome in Irving Fishbaum, O. Kushner, we welcome in Ben Sion, we welcome in Mark Frankel, and we welcome Marshall and Ken. Ken, it's great to have you. We welcome in Shelley and Stephen Holtzman, Dr. Black, and Michal Chavin, who's in the car, and Dr. Guy, Mel Zachter, Yisrael Fisher. Oh, a New Year's commitment, that's what I figured. It's good to have you back. Michal, Nachman Chapler, Gedalia Engel, Yitzi Muller, Aaron Sway, Dr. Tashauer, Moshe Lehman, Chaim Braun, Ilya Shupman, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Rabbi Kranz, Yitzhak Fuchs, and Abe Arbach. Here in Shul, we have Berish Gesselman and Ruvain Shanet. So, in the olden days, they used to bury people. There was a cave, and in the cave, there was horizontal slots for the body, horizontal niches. And we're going to see there was a courtyard, a central courtyard. From the courtyard, you went down into the burial caves. There was an opening, the cave, and then in the walls on three sides were these slots for graves. Now, there's a machlokes how many slots there were in each cave. So the Mishnah says, "Hamoicher mokom l'chaverai." If I sell a place to Chatzkel for a burial crypt, lasis like kever, to fashion this type of burial area, or v'chein hamekabel mechavero lasis like kever, or if Chatzkel contracted that I should make it for him. So this is the correct layout of the burial crypts. What?
There's no dirt, just a stone.
No, it's like clay. It's like a clay kind of a.
Like a
Dig out.
hole in the wall.
They got a vault.
Yes, they digged out vaults.
So I mean, like when the body began to disintegrate, where did it go? I mean, it's in a wall. It come out, drip out, right?
No, it didn't drip out. They closed them.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Was this a hole in the ground, or was this, like you said, a cave?
No, this was above ground, and it wasn't permanent. We're going to talk more about that. So there's a lot of controversy about what happens in Eretz Yisrael where they have it above ground. There's a lot of controversy about that.
Did you get it from this?
There's a lot of controversy. Hamoicher, again, hamoicher makam lechaveroi. If I sell an area to Chatzkel, laslis like kever, to fashion such a series of graves, v'chein amikabel mechaveroi, or if I get a contract from Chatzkel, laslis like kever, to make such a network. So oisa toicha shalmara, the cave itself, the foyer of the cave, was dalal amas al sheish, was 4 by 6 amas, enough to move around the coffin and the people that are burying it. Upeiseach l'soicha shmoina kuchen, and they open into the cave 8 such slots, 8 such niches. Where were they? Shosh mikan v'shosh mikan, 3 to the right side of the cave, 3 to the left side of the cave. Ushnayim mikenegdan, and 2 on the wall opposite to the entrance. So that's a total of 8. Now, what was the dimensions of these slots? The kuchen, these slots were orkan arba amas, they were long 4 amas. V'ruman sheva, they had the height of 7 tvachim. V'rachban, and the width of shisha tvachim. V'rachban, and their width was shisha. Rabbi Shimon says no, the caves were bigger. Oisa toicha shalmara, first of all, the foyer of the cave was sheish amas al shmaina. It was 6 by 8. The Tanakama said it was 4 by 6. He says it's 6 by 8. And and they opened into it 13 such slots, 13 such horizontal vaults. 4 on the right side, 4 on the left side. 3 opposite the entrance. Ve'echad miyamina pesach, ve'echad mina smel. Now, the maskana of the Gemara will be that this doesn't mean that it's to the right and the left of the entrance of the cave, but it means it was to the right and the left opposite the entrance. In other words, in the back wall that had 3 straight kuchen, coming out of the corners of the back wall, there were 2 diagonal slots as well, so that gave 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus the 2 diagonal ones is a total of 13. Now we'll see that this was just one side of burial crypts that were on all 4 sides. As the Mishnah says, there was a central courtyard entering into the cave that was sheish al sheish, that was 6 by 6. It was 6 amas by 6 amas. Kemole hamita v'koivreha, the length of the coffin and the ones that are bearing it. Now, according to the Tanakama, it only had 2 such caves opening up to it. It had opening up to it 2 caves, achas mikan v'achas mikan, one on one side of the courtyard and one on the other side of the courtyard. Rabbi Shimon says it was actually a network of 4 such burial crypts. There were 4 such burial crypts to its 4 sides. Now, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said the number of slots depended on the consistency of the ground. Hakola fiasela. It all depended on the consistency of the ground. If the ground was very soft, then they couldn't make too many kuchen. They would collapse one into another. If the ground was hard, then they were even maybe able to make more kuchen. So it all depended on the quality of the soil. So now, if you remember, we said that according to Reb Shimon, there were 13 such vaults, 4 on one side, 4 on the other side, 3 in the back wall, which gives you 11, and 1 to the right of the entrance and 1 to the left of the entrance. Now, literally, that would be 1 to the right and the left of the entrance as you're coming into the cave. So, hani trei lehechi sharilu. These 2 slats, where did you put them? Ilivroi, if you put them in the front, that's a problem. If you put them in the front, hakamitache luhu, people will walk on them. If it was coming right outside where the caves were. Visu, and furthermore, haditnan chotzer kever, the courtyard of the grave, ha'aymed b'seichai, if you're standing inside it, tar. But according to you, if the slats ran by the opening of the cave, so then it would run under the chotzer, it would run under the courtyard, and then when you stood in the courtyard, you should become tameh. So the Gemara says, no, that's not where they were. As I explained you, they were in the back wall of the cave. 3 were the parallel wall to the entrance, 3 went straight, and then in the corners there were 3 to the diagonal. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina, the Avadu. Now, first the Gemara answers. First the Gemara says, no problem. It was by the front of the door, but these 2 were vertical slots, and they lowered the mace in standing, like a tube. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina, the Avadu kamin nagar. They made it like a door bolt, where it went straight down, and they lowered the mason standing. But right away the Gemara rejects this, because Rabbi Yochanan says we don't bury Jews that way. That's kfuris chamayrim hizu. That's the burial of a donkey, where they just threw a donkey into the pit. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan, as we assume that like Rabbi Yochanan, the Avad Luhu Bekeren Zavis. What they did was, and as you see the picture now in the Gemara, the first picture in Rashi to the left, they made it on the back wall, coming out diagonally, both on the right side of the back wall and the left side of the back wall, giving you a total of 13. However, the Gemara is uncomfortable with this pshat as well, because the Gemara says, if you see the picture, that means the 3 open up one into the other. And then the 3 vaults are going to encroach one on the other. And that's not going to work. If the 3 encroach one on another, that's not going to work. It's not going to be covered on mace. How is that going to work? Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Ashi b'mamik. It's talking about where you made them deeper. In other words, they were on the diagonal, but in order not to get in the way of the one next to it from the back wall and the one next to it from the side wall, they made this kuch lower down in the earth, so it didn't get in the way of the other ones. And the Gemara says you have to say that they made some of the vaults deeper. Because if you turn back to Daf Kuf Aleph Amud Aleph, and you look in Rashi, where there's the picture of the full metric of the 4 caves on all 4 sides, you see that coming out of the top cave, there are 2 slats that come right into the ground of the 2 slots from the cave network to the left, and the same thing with the cave network to the right. So how could that be? So therefore the Gemara says it must be that they're lower down in the earth, so they don't invade the other kuchen. And that's what the Gemara says. The 4 caves, according to Reb Shimon, how could you do them? The vaults from one network will invade the space of the vaults from another network. Ella b'mamek. It must be that they made some of the slots deeper so that they don't invade the space of the slots that come over them. Hachanami b'mamek. You made it deeper. Rabbi Huna b'rei Rabbi Shua Aimer. Rabbi Huna b'rei Rabbi Shua says, I could give you a different setup of these kuchen where you have 8 coming out, and it'll look completely different. And if you want to see it, you could see the picture in Rashi where he makes 8 diagonal slots. And that way they don't run into each other. They're 8 diagonal slots. So he said, what you do is, Arba Maris Reb Shimon, the Avidlu Kicharusa. You make them like palm branches, where they come out diagonally, as you see in the picture, most bottommost picture in Rashi. However, the Gemara says that can't be pshat. V'hadarav Huna b'rei Rabbi Yeshua berusahi. That should be taught outside of the base medrash, or bedusahi. It's foolish. It can't be pshat. Why? Michtei. When you want to know, what we want to do is we want to make an imaginary square where these kuchen are supposed to fit in, these 8 kuchen. So we make an imaginary square because the long side of both of these maris are 8 amas. So it would be a square of 8 by 8 amas. Now in a square of 8 by 8 amas, a diagonal is, we said that the cheshbon is it's 8 times 1 2/5. Right? That's the every 1 amma on the side is 1 2/5 on the diagonal. So if it's a square of 8 by 8, then the diagonal will be 8 times 1 2/5, which is around 11 amas. Says the Gemara, Michte kol amsa beribua. Any amma on the side of a square is amma of a trei chumshei balachsaina, is 1 2/5 on the diagonal. So kama havalahu, how much space is there? Now, if you make a line going from the top of the upper mara across diagonal to the end of the side mara, that'll give you how much space you have to fit the 8 kuchen in this square. Now that diagonal would be chad sorei v'chumsha. That would give you 11 1/5, space of 11 1/5. Now, how many slots do you need? 8 slots. Now, that's 8 slots of an amma with an amma space in between. So you're supposed to fit 15 ammas in an area which only allows for 11 2/5, 11 1/5. How is that going to happen? Says the Gemara, Tamne 8 slots with the 7 spaces of an amma in between, so it's 15. So Tamne b'chad sari v'chumsha, 15 and 11 1/5. Heichi mishkachasa. How are you going to fit it? Says the Gemara, Elahad Rav Huna b'rei Rabbi Shua berusi. Teach it outside. Now the Gemara wants to offer another answer on how those slots could fit on the.
Can I ask a quick question?
No. Now the Gemara wants to now suggest another answer of how we could fit on the top wall two more slots on the sides, and it's not touching the others. And that is, they made smaller slots on those two diagonal ones for miscarriages. The Ibay is saying, as says the Gemara, the two that are on the side, they don't invade the other slots on either side. It's talking about where they're for miscarriages or babies. It's talking about with his baby, so they could be shorter slots and more inside, so they don't invade with the other slots. Now we're just going to pause a moment to change the channel over here.